So this is just a quick fun video that I was not expecting to make at all. I saw that a few days ago, Kotaku put out a list of the 14 tight samurai games you should play right now. From Elden Ring to Ghost of Tsushima to Katana Zero, there's a lot of slashing you could be doing. And although there's a lot of great games on this list and ones that are very valid for it, there's also some really weird games that are included too, like Elden Ring, that aren't exactly full samurai games, but there's also the way that the author here, Levi, talks about a few of the games is kind of strange, and I wanted to also just give my thoughts on that really quick. So this is going to be a really fast video, but just interesting to see what he's saying here about these 14 samurai games. So right away, what's the deal with tight samurai games? I don't know what he means by tight samurai games, but he mentioned something weird right away here. The samurai are a popular historical group in the world of video games, with their Bushido code, which emphasizes honor and loyalty among sharp blades. So right away, Bushido, that's kind of a myth. Yeah, it was around, but the way that we talk about it today isn't accurate at all to really how it was in old Japan. So it's more of a trope these days. I made a whole video talking about how Bushido, of course, is a modern day myth. The concept of it's very real. The concept of it did exist, very real. It is mentioned, but there wasn't this overarching code that so many people like to think there was when we talk about Bushido. Yeah, I know I'm nitpicking there, but that's important to mention. And with Team Ninja's Rise of the Ronin coming next year and Ubisoft finally taking Assassin's Creed to Japan, it seems high time to chronicle some of the best games featuring the Land of the Rising Sun's most famous soldiers. So here's a look at 14 solid games to get your Bushido spirit buzzing. Bushido, once again, not a real thing. Alright, so the first game he talks about is Elden Ring. I'll be real honest, I haven't played Elden Ring, but I know it's not completely just a samurai game. I know you can play as a samurai in it. But if we're making a list just talking about samurai games, I don't necessarily think that you should be adding Elden Ring to that list. It's hard. There's other games on here that I think kind of walk that fine line as well. If I was making this list, I wouldn't necessarily have put Elden Ring. Just because there's samurai in it doesn't make it necessarily a samurai game. I think you have to also set it in Japan. You have to, have all the other historical elements around it that really feed into it being what we can consider a full samurai game. So really, he's just talking about here that you can play as a samurai, which, of course, if that's really all it takes to be on this list, then there's a lot of games that you can, of course, put on this list if you're just talking about simply playing as a samurai. But yeah, I don't think Elden Ring necessarily was the best choice for this list. For Honor, honestly, like, you could say the same thing. Like, it's samurai. You could play as samurai, but it's not completely a samurai game. I'll give For Honor just a little bit more points, I think, because, of course, in For Honor you have the whole part of the story where you do play as the samurai in the samurai zone or the area of the map. And I think there's a bit more kind of cultural and historical influences there. Once again, questionable for this list, but not entirely out of the question either. Ghost of Tsushima, I think that perfectly fits this list. Katana Zero, I have not heard of this game. It's an indie game, side-scroller, neo-noir. It looks, of course, like it's got some either sci-fi or modern elements here, so once again, I don't know if I would consider that a samurai game either for this list. Like a Dragon Ishin, I just reviewed this. This is a great game. Highly recommend it. Perfect for this list. The Nioh games, so Nioh 1 and 2, once again, fun games. I've played the first Nioh game pretty extensively. Haven't really beaten it yet, so I haven't made that review of it. Maybe someday I will. But yeah, I think these two games definitely fit this list. Very fun. Onimusha Warlords, I've seen a lot of this game. I haven't ever played it myself, but I think it would fit this list for sure. Obviously, it has more kind of more fantasy elements to it. Same thing with the Nioh games. I won't necessarily say that makes it not a samurai game. I think you can still have a samurai game with these more fantasy elements. Samurai Bringer, I've heard great things about it. I think I have it on my wish list too. Samurai Showdown, okay, sure, that's good. Samurai Warriors 5. Okay, so this is one of the ones I take really a lot of issue with. Not because it's on the list. I think Samurai Warriors 5 is a fine game. But it's what he says down here that kind of makes me suspicious. So he talks about how the Samurai Warriors games are his favorite franchise, and basically the whole kind of power fantasy behind the Warriors games. But he talks about how you can play as a number of historical figures, and he mentions Nobunaga and Yukimura and Kotaro Fuma and Hattori Hanzo and all these people here, and even battles like Sekigahara and Mikatagahara. And he says how you can go through all these things and how they're great fun for learning about the history and these figures. And then he gets down here and he says only play Samurai Warriors 5. Play that one, ignore the rest. Has he not played Samurai Warriors 5? Because Samurai Warriors 5 doesn't have half the things he mentions here, because Samurai Warriors 5 covers less of the timeline. So you don't have Yukimura in Samurai Warriors 5. You don't have Kotaro Fuma, you don't have Sekigahara. Like, half the things he mentions up here aren't in Samurai Warriors 5, yet he's saying to play that one and ignore the rest. I don't think Samurai Warriors 5 is the best of the series by far. Like, it's a fun game, and I think it's a great foundation to build off of, and I'm still waiting for Koei to build more off of it, because I would love to see what else they can do with what they've established with it. But honestly, I think Samurai Warriors 2 and Samurai Warriors 4 have so much more going for it. So to say to play only Samurai Warriors 5 and ignore the rest is really kind of just illustrating. I don't think he really knows what he's talking about here. I think maybe he played parts of 5 and didn't finish it. I'm not entirely sure. I would go back and look at that one again, Levi. I don't know what you were thinking there. Shadow Tactics, Blaze of the Shogun. This is another one that I've heard great things about. I actually own this one, but I haven't really dived into it yet. Shogun 2, of course, perfect for this list. Great time. Trek to Yomi, I've played that one, I reviewed that one. It's fun. I love the visuals of it. I think it fits this list perfectly. Way of the Samurai 4. Okay, this is another one that I'm kind of not sure about either. So, not saying Way of the Samurai 4 is bad, but I still don't understand sometimes why people think that Way of the Samurai 4 is better than Way of the Samurai 3. He doesn't mention Way of the Samurai 3 at all within his write-up here, and I'm glad that someone in the comments did actually bring that up and say that Way of the Samurai 3 is better, which he did reply to and say that's fair. There's also some other great comments as well, because this is the end of the article here. Yeah, but people are saying, hey, where's Sekiro? Which I think, yeah, Sekiro probably should have been on this list too. I think the Nobunaga's Ambition series should have been on this list. There's so many games that you could have added. I'm not entirely sure how you came to these. Probably just, I'm guessing popularity. Like, that's probably why you put Elden Ring on the list, because if Elden Ring wasn't as popular as it was, obviously I don't think you would be putting that there, even if there was the samurai aspect in it. I could be wrong. I once again, I haven't played Elden Ring. I've heard amazing things about it, but I don't know if there's enough there to necessarily call it a full samurai game, or to put it on a list of the best samurai games you can play right now. But yeah, I'll leave a link to this article down in the description. Once again, no hate or any problems with Levi. I kind of find some of the things that he's deciding here to be questionable. I'm not entirely sure, particularly about what was he thinking when he wrote about this write-up for Samurai Warriors 5. But yeah, check out this list. Maybe I should make a list of my top samurai games that you can play right now. But yeah, this won't be the only video this week, obviously. There's actually a long-awaited one coming this weekend, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, thanks for watching.